Hi, my name is Corey Saucier. I'm in George Gresham's Management 432 class at Jacksonville University. I'm going to do a couple quick closing case reviews. I'm going to answer a couple questions that were at the end of the closing case studies. This one will be on Nike. Just a quick overview. Nike started in Beaverton, Oregon by Bill Bowerman and Phil Knight. They were looking for something that might be a good business opportunity to make a little money. And Bill Bowerman was an Oregon, University of Oregon track coach. And so what they wanted to come up with was a sneaker that had better traction for runners. And so after a little bit of trial and error, they came up with a waffle tread inspired by, a waffle iron. They made this shoe, and they started selling it out of the trunks of the cars. And from that humble beginning, they created one of the most profitable businesses in the world and one of the most recognizable brands that in athletics. Now, a lot of it came out of their, they had a very strong business model. They were very focused on a differentiation strategy. They wanted to always be at the front of the crowd when it comes to innovation. And they also were very focused on even, if you want to put it this way, innovation from in terms of how they marketed. They wanted to make sure that everyone knew that their shoes were not just intended for athletic purposes. This is not a shoe that you only wore for running around on a basketball court or on a track, but also a shoe that was a fashion statement. It said something about who you were as a person. And a big part of this was the Be Like Mike campaign they ran with Michael Jordan, where they created the Air Jordans. And these were shoes that they were selling for $200 a pair, which by today's standard would probably be about $500 for a pair of sneakers. And they continued to really work with, basketball was kind of a big cash cow for them, with running and other similar markets kind of falling behind that one. They were also pretty heavily focused on the football market. There were a lot of football spikes that were made by Nike at that period as well. But that really was the big money maker. From there, they eventually realized they milked the cow as far as they could, and so while they had previously foregone on other sports like golf or tennis, this was about the time when they decided it would be might be a good strategy to bring in the different kinds of sports to kind of fill out their market a little more and diversify a little bit. And so that was around the time when they brought in Tiger Woods. They brought in Serena Williams. The concept being that by challenging their previous business model, which relied very heavily on the running and basketball markets, which were a very basic sneaker, and this concept that it wasn't just an athletic shoe, it was a lifestyle shoe. They eventually came to identify that they could definitely grow beyond those markets. And by doing so, they were able to grow their sales and their profits. And so eventually they, once they found that they had really taken that innovative model or the model of innovation, actually would probably be the better way to put it, to golf and tennis and other athletic markets, they they came to recognize that they could grow even beyond that. So they started to pursue other footwear companies like Converse, which was a very well-known brand from, that had existed as far back as the 50s. It was the, original athletic shoe, and is now more readily recognized as a musician's shoe. It's hard to go and see a band these days without noticing one of the musicians rocking a pair of Converses. So they picked up Converse with their retro style sneakers, and they also picked up Hurley International, which was a company that was more for the surfing and skateboarding crowd, the snowboarding crowd. And they picked up Bauer, which was the big hockey company. And so by doing this, they really diversified a lot into some of the most innovative companies, now that they'd acquired them through horizontal integration. They had effectively diversified into some of the most innovative companies in many of the other athletic fields. Now, in doing this, they also managed to spike the profitability, and they maintained that same focus on research and development that has fueled them from the very beginning. Finding the next new thing, the next new technology to enhance the performance of an athlete, but also ensuring that these pieces of equipment were lifestyle items. Board shorts that were shorts was a big thing with Hurley in recent years. The idea that they were making casual shorts that you could wear out and around town, and then at the very end of the day, jump right into the water, paddle out. That concept they've maintained throughout their entire history. Another big thing that they tried to jump into was a lower income market. Now, we talk about the research and development. Obviously, once research is done, cost goes down. So eventually being able to take the lower priced Shaq brand that they had purchased, some of the technology from their high dollar shoes from maybe 15 years ago might easily find its way into this lower cost shoe, and now they've found another market that they can develop upon. While there may have been some faults or flaws in that old technology that they've since developed upon, it's certainly viable, and at one point was ahead of its time. So it was a very creative way to kind of allow some of their legacy to be able to continue to make them some money, and also find its way into a market that otherwise would probably not have the ability to afford to buy the high technology front of the line, top of the line shoe that they're making as they make them. Now, as far as the questions in it, I think I've pretty much answered them in kind of explaining the closing case, but what business level strategies is Nike pursuing? And it really comes down to a differentiation strategy. They've differentiated themselves in terms of their R&D and their focus on innovation. They've differentiated themselves in terms of the way they market. Identifying ways to make an athletic item into a lifestyle item was a really key decision on their part, and it's really made them very big. And that also brings me to the second question, which is how have Nike's business level strategies changed the nature of industry competition? Well, their combined focus on innovative marketing tactics and making a shoe into a lifestyle item has put additional pressure on their competition to make shoes that aren't just, you know, made for form or made for function. You know, they've introduced this form over function, or form paired with function formula into the equation, where now you want an attractive pair. You have to have an attractive pair of shoes that also function as an athletic shoe in order for you to compete against a brand like Nike. So it's definitely a wonderful company. They've done some pretty intense things, you know, and Nike is pretty much one of the most ubiquitous brands in the athletic footwear market. You can see them in every sport, from running, which is their roots, all the way to their most recent focus on soccer, where they've, you know, really changed the way people look at the way a soccer shoe needs to be built, and the way it needs to fit. So it's a great company, and I look forward to doing more research on them in the future.